The problem solution is the fifth item in the speaking section, and it's the third integrated speaking item. And the most important thing to remember with this item is that it's not really an integrated speaking task. It's an independent task wearing a costume to make it look like an integrated task. And we'll talk about that a lot in this video. Okay, like all integrated items, and in fact everything on the TOEFL, this sequence is going to save you again, but this time it's a little bit different. First, okay, reading? No, there's no reading on this item, so you can forget about thinking about comparing a reading in a lecture or a reading in a conversation. All you have to do is listen to a conversation. So it simplifies the structure significantly. Then you have the question, of course, and then here's the other change. 30 seconds of prep? No, you have 20 seconds of preparation. So less preparation time, but that probably will not be a problem. And then finally, you speak, of course, for 60 seconds. Okay, so the conversation, it's going to be 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And it's going to have quite a bit of information, but it will have 3 essential pieces of information that you need to identify. One of the speakers has a problem, and then they discuss 2 different solutions. It's always 2 solutions. Never 1, never 3, always 2 solutions. So here's an example. This lady says, I have a problem. Guy says, what? I'm not a person. It's a big problem, right? And he says, well, maybe you can do something to change that. Then she says, I doubt it. And he says, okay, well, I suppose you could just learn to live with who you are. So here, we have these 3 pieces of information. The problem, I'm not a person. Solution 1, do something to change it. Solution 2, learn to live with who you are. In a real example, you'll have many more details about each of these different pieces, but this is the core of what you need. These are the base pieces you need. Okay, and then the question, it's always the same, and so you only really need 1 piece of information from it. Here's what it looks like. The man or woman has a problem. Explain the problem and the solutions, then say which you think is better and why. And so the only important piece of information is they say the man or they say the woman, so you know exactly which speaker they're asking about. You can probably guess which one that will be by the time you get to this point, but it's really the only important piece of information in the question. So it's a little different from the previous item where the question is important. Here, it just identifies the speaker that has the problem. Okay, so the prep is a really important part of this whole thing. It's probably the most important part because you need to remember what you're going to do in the speaking section here. So you're going to take your notes, and they should be like this. I'm not a person. Maybe you can do something to change that, or I suppose you could just learn to live with who you are. You know, the format will be different on your piece of paper because you will have taken notes in 2 columns. But what you need to do is, you know, identify the problem, which is relatively easy usually, and then solution A and solution B, and choose one. This is important. Don't give me a mix. Don't say she should choose A sometimes, B sometimes. No, A or B. And then all you do is make an independent A-B response for it. Think about the second item in the speaking section. It's exactly the same as this, but the introduction is going to be longer and a little bit different. Otherwise, it's identical. Okay, so here I'm going to select the second. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to select the first solution. She should change her situation. And here's my quick notes. She'll be happier. It's a life goal. Here's my other reason example. She will not be satisfied if she chooses the other option. She'll be sad for the rest of her life if she chooses the other option. So you wrote down other details in your notes, but you don't need them. You can use them to build your opinion, but it's not necessary. I do recommend that you take the information that you wrote down that's related to the solutions and use it to form your opinion, but it's super important that you reserve all of that information for the part where you're saying your opinion, because the most important part of this item is that you give an opinion and you support that opinion with reasons and examples. And it will probably be easier to use the information you got from the conversation to do that, but you don't have to. Okay, so speaking is going to look something like this. The introduction is relatively formulaic. That means it's almost always the same. But the important thing, this is the trick to the whole item. If you do this well, you will get a high score. I can almost guarantee it. What you need to do is give me the intro in 15 seconds, more or less. And the only important piece of information from the notes is the change. You already know what the problem and the two solutions are. You just have to remember to say that the change is your opinion. Okay, the woman's problem is that she is not a person. The speakers discuss two solutions. She can try to change or live with her situation. I believe it's best for her to try to change her situation for many reasons. So your objective is to say, I believe it's best for her to try to change her situation for many reasons. You need to say that sentence as quickly as you possibly can so that you have time to give the reasons and examples that support your opinion. Okay, that's the only trick to this item. If you do that well, you will succeed. Okay, so here again, these are the notes from my preparation, happier life goal. First, she will be happier if she tries to change. Everyone needs a life goal, and hers is to be a real person. If she achieves it, she will feel accomplished. Perfect. Reason, and then example. Not satisfied, sad. This is going to be a negative reason example about the other choice. Additionally, if she accepts her situation as a non-human, this was the other solution, she will never be satisfied with her life. In fact, she will feel disappointed that she never even tried to change her situation, which is the worst possible outcome. So again, using a positive reason for the choice that I used and a negative reason for the one that I did not. Okay, that's what this item looks like. And here is the cheat sheet or the chuleta for you Spanish speakers. The most important thing with this item is to explain the problem, solution 1 and solution 2 in 15 seconds. And then you have 45 seconds to do your choice, the reason example, reason example. If you look at the bottom part of this chuleta from choice down, it's identical to the chuleta from item 2. Okay, so this is the 5th item. It's the 3rd integrated item. And it's relatively easy if you remember to do the intro in 15 seconds. So do some practice, and I'll see you in the next video.